What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk to you about Lucid. I want to go over some expectations for this upcoming week, what might cause some volatility in the stock price, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So looking forward into this week, it is a shorter week. So Monday is the market's closed. It's a holiday. But kicking off on Tuesday, you do have a couple Fed speakers to kind of be aware of. Durable goods forecast for that is negative 6.8. But it is the later part in the week. That's going to be the big deal for the market. So Wednesday, you do have the FOMC minutes. Over the last couple of occurrences, that hasn't really caused that much disruption. That's because the market kind of forecasted exactly what it would state. And most likely this time around would be no different. So anticipate Wednesday to be relatively volatile leading up to the FOMC minutes, and then potentially afterwards really moving higher. But most likely what it's going to state, and Powell's kind of reiterated numerous times, is it's going to come down to the data, whether we cut rates or not. And for the whole EV sector, which is very sensitive to interest rates, they're pro rate cuts, obviously, right? And so Thursday, GDP, that is going to be a very big deal that the Feds look at. In addition to that, PCE. So the Feds don't really like to look at CPI as a form of true indication of inflation. Rather, they like to look at PCE. So that's going to be a big data point both Thursday and also Friday for the market. In addition to that, though, you also have Nvidia's earnings after hours on Wednesday. So that is really going to move the market. Aside from that, I don't really see anything else being able to kind of disrupt the broader market that much aside from Nvidia. So we'll have to kind of wait and see how things play out. But Lucid, there isn't really any fireside chats. This is what they have for coming up events. So it looks like they are still going to be in Atlanta, Georgia. Geneva Open is concluding, it looks like, on Saturday, and then pretty much that's it. Nothing really new. So in my opinion, it is going to be at the mercy of the data points and everything else that I did mention. One thing that I think also could move the market that was somewhat new information on Friday was Trump going after the EU for tariffs. So France has kind of retaliated a little bit, saying that we're ready to kind of counter back if necessary. So that might potentially escalate this week. We'll have to kind of wait and see. But I do feel, given Lucid's wanting to kind of expand into Europe, I could feel if the EU does counter, then that would really negatively impact Lucid. So let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. But looking into this upcoming week for shorts did increase quite a lot on Friday, which was relatively odd, only because leading into a long weekend, shorts 9 times out of 10 do return a significant amount because they don't have to pay one unnecessary day that they don't have to, right? They'd rather just return and then pick it back up on the next following day. But 28.83% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 355.55 million shares overall are being shorted. So anticipate shorts to be fairly active this week, especially associated to a lot of the data points on Thursday and Friday. So just kind of be aware of that. Aside from that, looking into this upcoming week, the bulls feel like roughly around that 3 to 350 is realistic. So that's a pretty good return on investment. Bears are anticipating for it to be a sub 250. So definitely a lot more upside is anticipated. This is the open interest. So you do have 28,000 at that $3 strike price. So you'll see, again, shorts relatively active if Lucid is able to get close to that $3 mark, possibly. You do also have 5,000 at that 250. So potentially shorts might even try to manipulate Lucid below that 250. Because as I mentioned on my video on Friday, I feel like shorts' bigger plan is to kind of break Lucid on a technical standpoint. And this week is going to be a very big deal for Lucid. So I'm going to go over that in a second. But going into this upcoming week, though, it was positive to see on Friday a lot of institutions actually buying Lucid. So institutions were buying the dip, so that's relatively good. Just clearly this level of buying is no way match for algorithmic trading, which was largely suppressing a lot of stocks in the market, as well as shorts increasing. So it was kind of a losing battle at the end of the day. But going into this week, though, with it at 256, trading right now between this R1 and the pivot. So 241 is going to be a strong support, followed by 218, flip side 264, and then 278. are going to be the next strong target / resistance points. No recent analyst ratings, no articles even coming out about Lucid. So I think right now people are just waiting for the next big catalyst, or potentially updates for tariffs or something, but that's more macro specific to Lucid. I think people just want to see Lucid really ramp up. So there's been a lot of talk. Now they just need to execute. But like I said, this week is a very big week because Lucid is now wedge bound between that 100 and also the 50-day moving average. So 50-day moving average is at 247. Like I said, shorts, that's their plan. They want to break Lucid. They were successful on Friday to break it below that 100-day moving average. So that is at 261. So ultimately, the next kind of target for them is that 50-day moving average. And historically speaking, every time Lucid has broken below that 50-day moving average, there is a roughly 30% pullback. Again, flip side does happen as well when it does break above that 50-day moving average. But at the end of the day, that's what their plan is given the circumstances. So just watch for that 247. And I think, like I said, a lot of the data points, so GDP, PCE, FOMC, and also just potentially updates for from tariffs, that is also going to really move the broader market, and plus as well Nvidia earnings. So just watch for those key levels. In my opinion, not to be all doom and gloom, but I do feel GDP might be that dagger in addition to PCE that might actually bring the broader market down. Shorts will pounce all over that. So ultimately meaning Lucid will be below that 50-day moving average. So I do feel by the end of the week we will be somewhere between this pivot and this S1. So I don't really see 218 or kind of close to that being hit, but nonetheless it will be kind of within this range. So let me know your thoughts on Lucid. Where do you see things going this upcoming week, and what do you feel is going to be their next big catalyst? We've clearly seen, based on a lot of the recent flyovers, that they are starting to pick up on gravities, but do you think that is going to be the next big thing? Them moving up, let's say mid-size, if they were to come out with that partnership, what do you think they need that the market will say, hey, this is a screaming buying opportunity? So yeah, it's rather unfortunate. And even under my other channel, I did a video Saturday, top 5 EVs based on Wall Street analysts. So like analysts still don't really like Lucid, even though a lot of them have kind of turned a little bit bullish, but still analysts are hesitant about Lucid. So I think at the end of the day, Lucid really needs to wow Wall Street and its investors. I think a lot of investors have been very much patient and waiting. So now just management needs to execute. So let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. Hopefully everyone's having a good weekend. One final thing, pop over to my Patreon if you're looking for buy signals on stocks, options, crypto, many of which have been exactly on point. So definitely worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.